Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it.
So in the spirit of full disclosure, I met Xavier because you interviewed me for the Examiner, but I still don't remember how we met. How did we meet?
How did you meet? Tell me.
We met through Facebook.
Yeah.
I think I friended Exquisite Restraint, and then I love corsets, and I
She's
reached out and I said
I
wanted to interview somebody who was making custom corsets, and I found you.
Fabulous. She's so cool.
The corsets are the awesome. They give you the door for everything.
We have to have you as a guest, so you can show off your corsets.
Oh, that's right. We kind of haven't done that.
No.
I did it on that other show a long time ago. So yeah.
Have to do that.
That show that will not be named.
Yeah, that's right. The show without a name.
And her stuff is amazing. I mean, I went to the site and I just fell in love with it. And I was like, I need to talk to her. I want to know more.
Thank you.
So, you have been sort of a sex positive advocate for a long time. What does that mean to you?
I would tell you this. I have a list of people from high school. I could tell you that. I was teaching girls how to suck dick when I was in psychology class, and I actually had a teacher leave because of it. He was a substitute teacher, and the next day when my teacher came back, he goes, what happened in this classroom? He said he'll never come back here and sub again. And he goes, hey, I need to see you after class. And he goes, so what were you talking about? I said, I was teaching the girls how to suck dick. And he goes, and how did that go? So, yeah. He was one of those dirty old teachers.
Did they learn?
Oh yeah, well, I was one of those kids that people always came to me and asked me, well, I want to suck my girlfriend's tits while she's fucking me, or I'm doing this or that, and can you come up with a way to do that? I don't know how it came about that I evolved into the sex ed person at that age, but ever since then it just kind of.
It's weird, isn't it?
Very.
Yeah, I had girls and guys just middle school, high school coming up to me and divulging their deepest, darkest secrets, and and they weren't even people I necessarily liked.
Right.
Why are you telling me this? I'm like, well, I trust you. Why?
Well, I mean,
otherwise, outside of here, you want to kill me. Why are you telling me this?
Well, I was one of the mean people in school. I was one of the mean kids.
Were you tall in high school?
I was. I've always been a big guy. So, yeah. I mean, I just, nobody messed with me for one way or the other. But when I came out, when I was 16, I came out, and I come from a really tiny little town. And, I would show up at the school dances in boxer briefs and work boots. And, I kind of turned it out. I kind of, my locker had Playgirl pictures all in it. And it was very, it was a big, but nobody messed with me. I think, number one, because I never made it a big deal. I think being gay was, part of who I was, but I didn't make it that it was the white elephant in the room. It just was part of who I was, and people kind of went with it. I didn't get harassed or bothered that much. So.
What state did you live in?
In Connecticut, of all places, in a teeny tiny little town. I think there was 94 kids in my graduating class.
Wow.
So, and everybody knew, the whole school. As a matter of fact, to tell a quick funny story, my brother was at a bar back home, and the janitor from the middle school came up to him and said, are you Xavier's brother? And my brother went like this, yeah, and he goes, well, he goes, he was so cool. He goes, it never really bothered me that he was gay. And my brother looked at him and goes, I know that he's been worried. Yeah, he's concerned. I'll let him know that it's 15 years later.
Right.
And there's, so
it's good that we can.
Right, that the janitor is okay.
It's good to know.
But it's like the janitor in Breakfast Club.
Right.
That guy.
Right, that's exactly it. Yeah. Absolutely, that's how it is.
It's always good to make friends with the janitor. They have the key.
Right, absolutely. So, yeah, and then when I graduated, I went up to Boston. I went to college there, and I've always wanted to work in the sex industry, and I'm not even sure how that came about, but when I was 18 years old, I was like, I want to be a dungeon master. And so
and not the nerdy kind.
No.
Yeah,
the other nerd.
No. Hey.
I resemble that remark.
And I walked into a store and I said, this is what I want to do. And this woman took me and she's like, well, I'm about to have a baby. I need somebody to help me out. And she kind of took me.
Baby.
Well, okay, so to tell you guys, she wasn't, let's just say this. When I walked in, she goes, what she actually said was, I'm about to drop this load. So she wasn't exactly necessarily, Rose Kennedy. But, so she was a stripper, and her husband was kind of like mobster, Irish mob, and we all kind of weren't. They told me never ask questions when people walk in here if they're going back. So I learned that quick, and over time I evolved and became like they had a resident mistress and a resident dungeon master, and at a very young age I kind of fell into that and found myself lecturing at colleges. And any time that I had to do a presentation in school, I centered it on sex. In a public speaking class, they said, get a magazine and read something out of it aloud. Of course, I was in a Smithsonian magazine and I found an ad for Adam and Eve toys. So I read that aloud. Mm-hmm. And
why not?
So I I was in film class. I made a domination video, and I had, a guy down in a basement tied up getting whipped by these two Asian hotties. They were like 17-year-old girls, whipping this guy down in the basement. And the dean of the college came, I had to go meet with her to get approval.
Sure.
And she goes, well, I only have one question. And I said, yes. And she's like, why in the movie is it the man in the power position at the office and not a woman? And I looked at her and I said, because if I had a woman tied up in a basement being beaten, you'd call it rape. And she was like, and you can make your movie. So I did, and,
Very good, very good.
People walked out of the room, and, it was a huge scandal, but I got an A, and I got everybody else in the group an A, so.
Wonderful.
That was what it was about. So, that was my beginning.
We're going to be very good friends. This is wonderful.
And then I started before I went into the store, my first gig in the adult industry was working as a phone sex operator, as a woman.
Nice.
I figured if I had a feminine voice, I'm going to make money off of it.
Right, absolutely.
And I became one of the most highly requested women and my voice actually got to where when I wasn't taking calls and I was just answering at the office and sending the calls out to girls at home, my boss would be like, you need to tone it down, your voice is too sexy and the guys want to talk to you and you're not taking calls right now.
Right.
So she's like, tone it down. So.
Can you say something in your sexy voice, like if I call you right now?
I'll call you later.
Okay.
I can't.
Why did I call you?
It got to the point, I have to tell you, it got to the point where I would literally, my friends would like give me a phone number out of the phone book and I would literally just call random people and get them off on the phone. I mean.
So, yeah.
You would crank call people as a woman?
Yeah, and get them off and get the guys to get off.
Wait, that was you?
You never know.
It's important. It's important to know.
That was that call from Boston.
Did that go well for you? Did you have to pay for that phone?
Not anymore.
Was that a collect call?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Well, it's good to know.
You're killing Rin, by the way.
She's done. That's good. That's good.
So, okay, I want to ask you, you went on to college. You have like 3 degrees?
I do. I started off... I do. I started off as, I got my undergrad in, I got my associate's degree in mass communications, and then I transferred and got my bachelor's in speech communications and public relations from Emerson College. And then from there I went on and got my degree in library technology, and I'm working towards actually a master's in library science.
Fabulous.
Kind of strange.
You need to talk. We need to talk. You need to. Because I'm interning at the One National Gay and Lesbian Archives downtown.
Oh, how
at
fantastic!
USC.
And my track is to be an archivist.
Yeah, so you need to come do some time down there.
For sure.
It's a fun place. It's
Absolutely.
good. It'll be good.
I'm going to be one of the mean librarians, though. I definitely want my glasses down on my bridge of my nose, and I'd like to have a riding crop, actually. I don't know if that's possible.
Oh, that's perfectly fine there.
So.
I'm positive there's even some in there somewhere. I wouldn't worry about that so much. Yeah. The guy who kind of runs admin for there is wonderful, and he gets his mad librarian
Oh,
thing going every once in a while. It's one, and he has really long hair, and he'll pull it all up
love it.
and do it. It's wonderful. It's great. We have a good time.
I love it. It's fantastic.
Wait, is the One Archives an entity by itself, or is it associated with?
It's now associated with USC.
Oh, okay.
USC. The best that I can track is that USC donated the building to the archives, and the archives kind of went along and did its own thing, and USC said you can have the building free to do this. Great. And they kind of stayed out of it. And the archives went along, and over time, in the past couple of years, the archives recently received a large grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities,
Damn.
which sort of made USC go, oh, you're our archives, we love you. And so now it's run by USC. As the superstructure kind of stepped in and went, oh, now that you've got millions of dollars coming in,
Right.
you're a part of us. Whereas before it was just sort of the black sheep that they ignored. But it's a fantastic place. It's a great space. Yeah, it's a good